to take a look at domain and range. The domain of a function is all the input values, and the range of a function is all of the output values. So we're always going to write these from smallest to largest. Okay, so now look at my graph. I can see that this point is on the far left, and this point is on the far right. So the smallest x value comes from the far left point, and it's -6. The largest x value comes from the rightmost point, and it's 1. So when we write domain, we're going to write from -6 to 1. We use the brackets to include the points. Similarly, when we look at the range, the smallest y value comes from the leftmost point, which is -4, and the largest y value comes from the rightmost point, which is 1. So our range is from -4 to 1. If I want to look at it graphically as well, my domain covers this length here, from -6 to 1. And my range covers this length here, from -4 to 1. Let's look at another example. So let's first mark our endpoints. -7, -2, and 3, 6. So our domain is going to go from the smallest x to the largest x. So our domain is -7 to 3, and our range goes from our smallest y to our biggest y. So from -2 to 6. What about graphs that don't have endpoints? Take a look at this line. This is the line y equals 2/3 x minus 7. Now the arrows on either end of the line tell you that it goes on forever in both directions. That means that it goes on forever horizontally, making the domain all real numbers, and rewrite that as from -infinity to +infinity. Range being the same thing. How about this parabola? That actually has a minimum point at 4, 1. These arrows tell you that it actually goes on forever horizontally. So every x value is going to get covered from the far left to the far right. So our domain is -infinity to infinity, or all real numbers. Now because of this minimum, it means that our range is restricted. We have a smallest y value at 1. We don't have a largest y value because it goes on forever to infinity. So our range here is from 1 to infinity. Let's do some practice in class. Good job, everybody.